his friend was in front of him, and they were like zooming down the hill. And I was running across the street, and I'm whistling to his friend, cause his friend's like, riding on.
Okay, we'll get started. If you could please stand for the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome to the September 20th, 2018 Town of Riverhead Planning Board Work Session. First item on the agenda today is NERP Holdings, Tractor Supply, Main Road in Calverton.
How are you all today?
Good, how you doing?
Nice day to take the ferry out. Beautiful day on here.
Just your names again, please, for the minutes.
Sure, Eric Mine, Bowler Engineering, 2929 Expressway Drive North, Hauppauge, New York.
Mark Diodavo, NERP Holding and Acquisitions Corporation, 150 Hartford Avenue, Weathersfield, Connecticut.
And Alex Kosiski from Bowler Engineering as well.
Alright, so I'll lead off. We just had a couple of outstanding issues that the applicant wanted to address, and we wanted to get the board's feel on one outstanding issue from the subdivision approval. One of Mr. Gaudiello's comments when we issued the subdivision approval was Mr. Gaudiello was recommending that radiuses be added to the northeast corner and the northwest corners of parcel A and C respectively. The reasoning for this was if the road is, if the back portion, the Sky Material site is ever further subdivided, that there would be curbing and rights of ways and public improvements, which would be on public property in this area. You know, when the engineers looked at that comment, it was gonna present significant setbacks for them in terms of going back to the health department. It would have required redoing, contracts with Tractor Supply. So I had spoken with Mr. Ehlers, and he was of the opinion that they can show radiuses here as a area of future dedication, which would address the issue if there's ever future subdivision, and it won't give them that, setback with dealing with health department, having to redo the subdivision map. So if the board agrees with that, we can just have them revise that to show them, give meets and bounds for a radius description and call it an area for future dedication.
But that would be DOT as well.
Yeah, I mean, it would deal, yeah, correct. So I mean, if
And I think in the future, should the other parcel to the rear come in with an application, it would have to be dealt with at that time, so it's not like it would be an oversight.
So if the board's agreeable, we can just, have them throw the radiuses on there and call it area for future dedication. That will satisfy Mr. Gaudiello's comment and allow them to move forward with health department.
We had asked for, mountable curbs too, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that they're gonna address in the site
Okay.
plan and
All right.
working with DOT, but this was really just a comment for the subdivision. So if the board's good with that, we can put that to bed. And then in terms of the berm and the landscape, and I'm gonna let Mr. Diodavo raise his questions and go with what he would like to do.
Thanks, Greg. I would prefer frankly not to do the berm. We got approved without having to do it. I don't want to, impact any of Tractor Supply's visibility as a retailer, visibility and the ability to be seen is very important. We've got a number of trees already planted here. So I would like to, if possible, leave the plan, and we have a whole bunch of what is this, Eric? This is shrubs?
It's all different, so you're gonna have color.
I don't think we actually asked for a berm, more
Yeah, I
of a
don't know if that's the
radius.
right term.
Because
Oh, okay.
we want people drive by to see all of your wares and your signs and everything.
Gotcha, okay.
We just really don't wanna see the parking lot, we don't want cars looking at the pavement to drive by.
Yeah,
But we were asking for like a 2-foot raise, I don't think it's that
not a berm?
objectionable.
No, just a slightly raised flower bed, really, planting area.
I mean, what's
Yeah.
this elevation right here? The road's 84, this is what?
We're relatively flat right now, but the plantings are gonna be 2 or 3 feet high each, so maybe a compromise would be, can we go up a foot with the 2 to 3 foot plantings on top?
That should still hide the parking lot, no?
If you drive down Route 58 right now and you look at the ones that have been burned, you still see all of the buildings, you just don't see the parking lot. We're trying to do, we're not trying to affect or hurt your business in any
Good,
way, we
okay.
just,
Red Maples.
Okay.
it's up to the board, I would
This
stay
is going to
at
be
2 foot.
2 or 3 feet high in any event. So I'm not sure that anybody driving by is going to be able to see. These are our trailers, you know, the 3-point trailers?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, the parking lot's back here. I don't know how many feet off the road we are, but this is 60 feet, the building line is 60 feet, and how far back are we from there? Another 24? Probably 80 or 90 feet back to where you start to hit the parking spaces. That's pretty far off the road.
So I think what you're saying then, basically, no matter, even if you did add this, you'd still be looking over it no matter what. You would?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like,
it would be.
yeah, I mean.
As far as line of sight,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not,
because
if you're not right up on the road, you're going to be looking over it anyway, I got it.
And you're in a car.
Yep,
I mean,
yep.
it's not likely to be
Yep.
walking there, you're gonna be only, you know, at this height anyways.
So
Well,
if
I would ask
you're
that.
already 2 or 3 feet, you know, I think that should suffice.
Well, you said that you
My
were acceptable
opinion,
to about a foot, right?
I did not say that.
Mabel's also
I mean, this is a great project, I'm gonna support it no matter what you do, but I think it's a better project if you don't see the parking when you go and drive by, I don't think 2 feet's, you know, asking for anything crazy.
You know, I think that, though they're saying it, is that there's 80 feet back from the road, so if you put 2 feet here, you're still going to be looking, you know, back, you'll see the 80 feet, no?
I understand, and you're gonna see the parking lot, that's fine. I
Well, the
mean,
ones on 58 are even further back than that, so,
if you look at the berms on 58,
you know, but the buildings from that point
yeah,
are more than 80 feet.
I mean, I'm gonna support it no matter what you do, I would request 2 feet, cause I don't think it's unreasonable, and I think it'll make it a better project, and it won't take any time. But, you know, whatever the board majority wants is fine. I personally predict that this is gonna be the #1 tractor supply anywhere, I really do,
I hope you're right.
yeah.
I'm sure they do down in.
I just wanted like to see, you know, a little bit better project, and I think by hiding the parking or shielding the parking a little bit, it makes it better, but I think it's a great project, and I'm gonna support it either way.
I think the shrubbery will do the job.
There you go.
I'd just like to
Well, whatever the board goes with, I'm fine.
the curb line is about like 84.2-ish, and by the center of the parking, we're close to like 82, so already almost 2 feet down at the point of the center of the parking lot. So to Mark's point, you know, no one's gonna be parking in the display area anyway, facing the road, so by the time you get to the first 2 rows of parking, you're already gonna be about 2 feet down from the roadway, so.
Couple other
So the
issues?
board's okay with the
Yes.
planting as it is? Alright.
Thank you.
And then, Mark, I believe your next question was the eastern buffer landscaping.
Yeah.
If the board would be okay, you know, at the last meeting, would the board be okay with a single row of planted arborvitaes to provide that screening, or would they like to see a double row? Cause the town code did require 10 foot, but it gave discretion to the board if it was appropriate, so would the board be?
Straight line, or are they gonna be, staggered?
Whatever the board desires, I mean,
Yeah, we acknowledge the 10-foot code requirement, it's kinda, how do we wanna fill out that 10 feet? A staggered row might look better up the side, across the rear, we're doing, just a straight row, and I think that's appropriate back there to provide a barrier from the front to the rear.
What would be the reason not to follow the town code?
We're not arguing against it, it just hasn't come up to date, so this was something that kinda caught us off guard as
So
to
I
how to
don't-
address it at this point.
I mean, unless there's, you know, extenuating circumstances, I don't see any reason for us to vary from it.
I don't want, I agree with you, I'm wondering, are we varying, or is there ambiguity? Are you saying there's some discretion that the?
Well,
that we
discretion
have,
usually
or-
is if you have a good reason,
Yeah,
and we don't hear any reason, I don't hear
So,
any reason why.
We have a dense forest next to us, was the real reason we didn't initially propose it, I understand it could be future developed, but they're also gonna have to have a buffer along that side of the property. I would think they'd wanna maintain those mature trees as part of that buffer, they're fortunate enough to have that retained still, our site doesn't have that.
Is it a dense forest or nuisance vegetation?
The further back you get, the nicer it is.
What is it, a farm, isn't it?
Stan,
Isn't it a
you
farm?
do make a good point, the problem is, you look at something with dense forest and you start cleaning out the undergrowth and the dead wood and everything else, what are you left with? And we had that happen with,
Pods.
pods, you look like
Yeah.
a dense forest, and then you take out the scraggly stuff and the good stuff. Doesn't wait.
So I mean, if they come in and they propose a staggered row of arborvitae's along that eastern boundary, would that satisfy the board?
Okay, well, thank you, that's good, would save us a couple bucks.
I believe that was, like I said, the larger issue was the radiuses on the subdivision, and we addressed that, so, unless.
I talked to Mr. Montecalvo, and he was fine with it, cause he's gonna need to cooperate, and that's on his property.
Well, isn't this his partners, right, Chalaski?
He said he's gonna talk to him, he didn't think this was a problem.
Alright, the future dedication,
Right, no, I just told him that, you know, just put it in there, we're not gonna change anything now, but,
alright. I mean, unless you came up with anything else, I believe those are the only issues that we came to address here.
I have, maybe, well, do we wanna, yeah, just, yeah. Oh, while I'm at the table. Hey, Alec, do you have the, I wanna just talk to you guys about the elevations for a moment. We have a couple elevations. I'm not sure if we were mandated to, I wanna just go back in my memory here. Somebody's asked for a parapet along the front of the building, it may have been the design review, okay?
That was a comment that came from the architectural.
You were the one that, you told me that they are simply an advisory board and they're not, you know, their recommendations are. So I'm gonna ask you, take a look at the elevations, a perspective, they're asking us to increase the front of the building, just the parapet by 4 feet, 3.6 or 4 feet. It's basically because of the elevation that we have, which is basically, unfortunately, I'm gonna talk to the architect about this. The elevation, is it like a bird's eye view, almost at the height of the sign? And I think their comment is that they don't want people to see the HVAC units. And this is what it would look like, thank you. I know it pretty well, take a look. If you look at that eye view is almost, probably 15 feet high. And this is what it really looks like. And personally, I believe that architecturally, this is a more balanced, you know, it's only 3 or 4 courses of block, so it's not that big a deal. But I just think that this architecturally looks better than extending this roof up by 4 feet. It just looks really, it's out of proportion.
No, just to clarify, this is with the parapet,
This is with a
without?
parapet in the front, this is what somebody actually sees driving into the parking lot.
Based on what's currently filed, and this is with the extended parapet.
Right. So what we did is, we drew it with the extra courses of block there.
It takes away from the peak, you know,
I just don't think it's balanced, it just looks like it's just too tall.
Stretched out.
Yeah, it's stretched out, exactly.
Are you saying with 100% certainty that with your proposal, we will not see the HVAC equipment?
If you go on the roof, you will, you won't see it from here.
From the ground, yeah.
What about from the road?
So this is,
I don't think you'll see it from the road, I mean, no, I don't think you will.
this elevation is kinda to scale from the eye?
That's right, that's exactly, the architect
And
did this.
this would
I had
be
him do
taken
this.
really from, it looks like you'd be taken from the common roadway, so I mean, if you
Yeah.
were passing by on 25, it would be even,
It looks like, I mean, it's almost as if it's taken from, I would say, you know, it looks like it's taken like somewhere down this road.
So I mean,
We'll
was
do it
that the
either
only
way.
point that they raised, to raise it?
yeah, that was the comments from the ARB, I believe, were raise the parapet, and they actually advised against the berm, but those are the only 2 comments from the ARB.
Okay, so, I
Now,
mean,
first,
is it,
possible suggestion is that you can go with what they're proposing in the event that it is visible from the road, and we can bring it back for discussion and revisit the issue.
well, is it too late to?
That's kinda hard, I mean,
Yeah, the
well,
building-
yeah,
the
the
building's
building's up, you mean?
You know what,
We've done that on other
if-
applications.
If the concern was seeing the HVAC, and you're saying it's not,
No, I just don't think it's balanced, I mean, we can do it either way.
oh, well, I thought you said you definitely would see it.
Just for
I
a
think
point.
from here, you will not see it. I mean, if you're 200 feet away, I don't think anybody will see it anyways. Cause how far is that building from the street?
Couple hundred feet,
You don't have an elevation of the
Just to
top of
ask
the,
a question here, to make a point. What's that?
Elevation one.
Well, the building's 20 feet, you know, you have, the vestibule and all, those units are probably, let's say they
The
might be 4
units are
feet
probably,
high.
it looks like they're about elevation 24 feet. Yeah, the top of the units look like they're about 24.
So that's 4 feet on top of the, on top
They
of
wanted
the,
the blocks and
this roof line.
horses up. It's gonna make it look a big wall.
Say you won't see, so.
Well, yeah, who's the point, but.
from the road is questionable, I'm not certain, cause we just talked about with the berm, the road's at
Yeah.
84, the building's at 84, so it's at the same elevation, so
I'm sure
even being
they're,
a couple hundred feet away, you're looking
You're looking
upward, I think
yeah.
it would be tough to see them.
I'm sure they're an earth tone color or whatever, it's not going, your eye's gonna be.
No, 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 they're-
Fluorescent orange.
No way. If you put a fence up, some towns have asked for that, and architects have said, you know, the fence is actually more, draws your eye to it more than,
Right. I
just
don't have
like
a
anything
problem
else.
with it myself.
Neither do I.
Okay, and then I'll have the architect make the plans like that.
So, they're okay without the raised parapet?
Correct.
No more, right?
I'm getting out while it's good. No, I don't think, are there any other issues, Frank?
No, those, from my end, those were the only outstanding things.
Okay.
addressed.
So we'll get a resolution?
Well, I mean, final approval's still holding up pending the approval of the SWIP. You know, now that we've addressed the subdivision issue, they can proceed ahead with the health department, get that stuff hammered out. And once the SWIP is approved, that was the purpose for this meeting, so that there was
Is it
nothing
gonna be that
lingering.
long?
So that once the SWIP is approved, I'll have a final approval resolution ready for the board to consider, so.
Great. 2 months.
Yeah.
for the lease edition.
Yeah,
Lease edition.
yeah.
So we won't start until the spring, is what you're
We
saying.
got some ins, you'll be all right.
All right,
All right, good luck, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen,
very much.
appreciate it.
Appreciate all the cooperation, honestly.
Okay, the next matter on the agenda is 406 Osborne Avenue. This one's yours too, Greg?
Yep.
How you doing? Good.
Hey, Tom. You guys just wanna state your names for the record?
Thomas Kramer, from the Kramer Consulting Group, and offices at 54 New Picture Road.
That's right. Gotcha.
Robert Gruber, architect, office at 476 Expressway Drive South, Medford.
Alright, so, planning department has received and reviewed a preliminary site plan application to develop a vacant parcel with a 2-story, roughly 9,200 square foot mixed-use building, which would consist of approximately 4,000 square feet of retail on the ground level and 6 residential apartment units on the 2nd floor. The application is also proposing landscaping, lighting, parking improvements, as well as connection to the Riverhead Water District and connection to the sewer district. Subject location, 406 Osborne Avenue, is a vacant 0.48 acre parcel, which is located on the northwest corner of the intersection of Osborne Avenue and Pulaski Street. The sole improvement on the parcel right now is the Polish Town sign, which can be seen on page 2 of the staff report. Subject parcel is located within the Village Center zoning district, which permits retail stores as well as apartments on upper floors. Surrounding uses in the area include a single-family residence located directly to the west, a town-owned parking lot to the north, the Pulaski Street School across Osborne to the east, and a shopping center to the south across Pulaski Street. Staff has done a secret review on it. It's considered an unlisted action. Determination of significance is withheld pending receipt of additional information and comments from other entities. In terms of access, the site plan shows a 24-foot wide curb cut on Osborne Avenue, which is currently being proposed as the only access to and from the site. This was presumably done to prevent the site being used as a cut-through for people trying to get around the traffic light.
Or for parking during Polish Fair.
Yeah. Although, when I was reviewing the plans, having one access point proved to be somewhat problematic for trucks that are gonna be making deliveries for the as-of-yet unidentified tenants, as well as trucks coming in to empty the garbage dumpster. It would prove to be very difficult, for them to navigate the site.
Is the dumpster?
Yep. So I mean, as you can imagine, if a garbage truck is gonna be coming in here, there's no way for them to maneuver around to pick up the dumpster and then exit the site. Due to these facts, staff is gonna recommend a curb cut from Pulaski, and that comment was also echoed by the highway superintendent. All proposed curb cuts and work within the right-of-way will require permits from the Town of Riverhead Highway Department. Right now, the application is proposing to relocate the Polish Town sign in an area in the southeast corner of the property. It's gonna be turned at a 45-degree angle. Staff believes that this was an important, it's an important cultural landmark in the town. The one comment is, it's recommended that the applicant just consult with the Polish Town Civic Association, just to coordinate the relocation of the sign, so you don't get any angry calls or angry emails. Pulaski Street School is located across Osborne Avenue to the east. This application should be referred to the Riverhead School District in order for them to comment on it. The increase in traffic must be analyzed to determine if additional safety measures are required. For example, if they're gonna need any additional school crossing guards, et cetera. And that was one of the agencies that we were going to reserve a secret determination on until we heard some comments back from them.
How many apartments?
Six, yes, probably,
Four, five? Yeah, there's four, five, yeah.
Oh, come on.
Parking.
Yeah, we'll get the parking.
We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 6 apartments.
The lighting that's proposed on the site plan consists of 4 building-mounted light fixtures. These are the sole exterior lighting fixtures that are being proposed. The fixtures do have a color temperature of 3,000 degrees. They just need to show the height of the proposed fixtures on the plan. The maximum height is 16 feet. Now, while the building-mounted lighting does appear to provide sufficient lighting for the walkways around the building, the areas immediately adjacent to the building, there's really very low to no lighting level here at the northern parking stalls. It's recommended that the applicant, put in some lighting just to provide a measure of safety if people and residents and tenants are gonna be using the dumpster area at night. You want that area to be lit somewhat. The dumpster enclosure is proposed in the northwest corner of the parking area. Proposed screening consists of a 6-foot-high black vinyl fence with black privacy slats, as well as a row of 9 plants. The plan just needs to be updated as the proposed plants are not indicated with any sort of name in the legend. So the applicant just needs to demonstrate what they're proposing to screen it with. And it, just needs to be, right now they're shown on top of curbing, so some small edits need to be made, revisions need to be changed there. Landscaping on the site, the site plan is proposing 6 green vase trees, 3 along the frontage with Pulaski, and 3 along the frontage with Osborne. It's also proposing 8 lime mound bushes and 4 mugo pine bushes around the building, and a small bank of shamrock inkberry bushes at the southwest corner. Due to the proximity of the building with both the street frontages, staff recommends that the site plan must be revised to provide additional landscaping. The building's only 10 feet off of the road, 10 feet off the property line. So they can propose some additional planting, which should incorporate attractive colors, just to make the building seem a little less imposing.
What's the condition of the sidewalks?
Well, that was actually one comment from the highway superintendent. I believe he said the sidewalks around the property should be replaced. When I went, they're not. The curbing along Pulaski he wanted redone, and the sidewalks along the property, so. Curbing on Pulaski, sidewalks on both Osborne and Pulaski.
How tall do those green base trees get?
Good question, I don't have the answer off the top of my head, I can find out.
Just worried in relation to, the lighting.
What's the site visit?
I can find that out.
Just a question.
All right.
Right now.
Parking stall dimensions, what are they?
Right now, the parking stalls are, now the plan you have does show the double striped stalls. That was a revision that I hadn't gotten yet, I just wanted to get some plans, so you had some reference as you were reviewing it. I just wanna, just back to the landscaping real quick, staff is also gonna recommend some base plantings at the base of the Polish Town sign. As far as the parking stalls are being proposed as 9 by 20. Required size is 10 by 20, but the planning board has the discretion to approve 9 by 20 as long as they're double striped. The plans that you have show them double striped. The only thing is the handicap stalls still need to be 10 by 20. As long as the board's okay with the double stripe.
I'm personally not okay, 10 by 20 for me.
What's the rest of the board's opinion on the?
How, what do you feel like this? You like 10 by 20?
Oh, of course,
I thought so.
for years I've been
You still meet the number of requirements to do that?
too many
No,
times
we
over
wouldn't,
the
no, we'd
road.
be short, by maybe 3 or 4 parking stalls, so we'd have to be in the parking variance. There is parking to the north, there's a whole parking, municipal parking.
Town has a municipal lot to the north.
There's some of the things that we wanna discuss, but, there are a lot of townships that do approve.
Right, all those townships up west do it,
Right.
and I
Not
don't,
this
I don't like, yeah, me neither. I don't know about the rest of the board,
Just
but
an inconvenience.
How many short would you be?
2 or 3.
Well, we'd probably be 1, 2, 3, at least 3.
right,
Three
there's
stalls
a
short.
mechanism in the code for you to, pay a fee for every stall that you're short. So it's not like you can't build your project.
And we do have significant amount of parking just to the north.
Right, just to the north, there's a whole.
That's one thing too that we want to discuss with the board.
It's not
next
improved though.
meeting.
It's not-
It's paved, or
Not-
gravel.
Not what's connected to you, it's not,
It's gravel and,
talking about across in the firehouse?
yeah.
no, right,
Just to the north of the
just the
town.
north.
Yeah, there's actually, I
This
took a
right here,
picture
you
of
see
it,
this
Yeah, yeah,
little
the picture.
striped firehouse.
Yeah.
This is not really improved.
Yeah,
It's gravel.
there's a picture of it on page 6, that I took when I did a site visit. I mean, even if there's a town-owned parking lot, there's no, they don't have authority to utilize that in lieu of parking on their site. So, I
Right.
mean,
Yeah,
you'd
we
s-
would still
even
have
if
to
you
pay it
change
all,
the
but-
space, you'd still, if you're short on your site,
It's
still
not a,
need the variance,
not in the
but-
parking.
no, no, sir.
The other thing, I know we're not at the site plan, portion yet, but the aesthetics of the building, the elevations. Like the windows, in my opinion, should probably have shutters. We wanna make this look better, and is there any way we can incorporate any ethnic ideas? It's Polish town, it'd be really great if it, well, not only just red and white, but, some architecture or something, gable tops or something. This is just as a square building with your square windows.
I
Let's put some
This
shutters
is
on.
more, I do have colored elevations
Yeah.
that we're getting ready to show
See,
the
the
architecture.
view
review
from
committee.
Osborne Avenue, I think, is lacking. That just doesn't look nice from Osborne Avenue view.
Because this is not a storefront, I mean, we could.
Right, but it's a big
All right,
wall that's
yeah,
taking
corner,
corner.
right there.
okay, we could do something to dress that up.
The ARB hasn't yet.
No, it was scheduled for them next week.
Yeah. I personally would like to, not an ERB, but I would like to see just some kind of ethnic Polish town, twirls or swirls or whatever, and shutters on the windows. This is very bland, and I think we're just trying to kick it up a notch. No? No? Shutters are cheap,
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, I know, I looked
I mean,
on, Google Maps and all
comment on
that,
it, but they're.
Pulaski Street, and looked at the buildings that were there. They're really pretty boxy,
Yeah,
existing
they're trying
buildings,
to
so.
get away from that.
I thought that we did get away from it
If you
with
went
these gables.
to, Martha's Vineyard, you would never see this. I don't know why everybody comes to Riverhead and just has,
Well, I mean, it'd be perfect, the building itself, the roof line and everything is not square.
No,
It
I have no
needs-
problem, yep.
I agree, you know, we can.
And we do have
we can
ins and
do
outs,
some
like,
things, yeah.
you don't see any elevation, there are bump outs, there, places to go back in and
yeah,
come back out again.
that looks good,
So they,
no
you know,
complaint there,
And we can throw some other decorative,
please,
Right.
you know, and,
yeah, we could definitely do something over here.
Yeah, I think-
Yeah,
yeah.
all right, bring
and
it
like
back.
you say, shutters or things.
yeah,
The
things
shutter's
to-
not a
to dress
problem.
it up.
Red
Right.
and white.
So we'll get comments from the
bricks,
ARB, they'll incorporate them, they'll come with some revised plans, you know, they can show some alternatives, and the board can weigh in on
How
it.
long have you owned the property for?
Me, I don't know, I'm not.
How long has you owned, I'm sorry?
They recently went into contract, they recently bought it.
Okay, because there was an approved site plan in this, I think, maybe 10 years ago or
Oh, I
something?
don't know, yeah, that was, yeah, we're
Previous
talking
one.
about just, a year or so, not
Okay.
that long.
I think Stan has a good point too about,
Yeah, something,
this one,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
so,
Yeah.
my opinion is let's make it better.
Yeah, I mean, that's mine, we can snazz it up.
Okay.
I did note during the review that, sheet SP two provides details of a bike rack, but I wasn't able to locate the bike rack on the site plan. So if you are proposing a bike rack, which I would recommend, you know, it's in the downtown area, that bike rack just needs to be shown on the plan.
Would you mind a bike rack out, in, you know, on an island like this over here? Maybe
Um,
front of the building?
Well, which corner is that?
Well, either over here or over here, you know, it's like.
Northeast corner.
front on-
I mean, if it can be located in a way where it's not gonna interfere with any sort of traffic, yeah, I mean,
Or it should be closer to the building.
that's what I was thinking too, I mean.
Or maybe on this area here?
Yeah, I mean, that would probably be the best location, people could park their bikes, they're right by the sidewalk,
Yeah.
you know, they park their bikes and then go into the building. So the western property boundary on page 5 of the staff report, I took a picture during a site visit. The subject parcel shares its western property boundary with a single-family residence. The site plan proposes to keep the existing natural vegetation buffer, and it's not proposing any additional land screening or landscaping. Now, although the trees along the western boundary are mature and they do provide a decent measure of screening, it's unclear if utilizing the existing buffer is appropriate, being that the trees are not shown on a survey. Staff is gonna recommend that those trees be flagged, shown on an updated survey, so that we can determine whether they're on the applicant's parcel or the neighboring parcel.
No problem.
If they are on the applicant's parcel, I would just recommend, town code requires a 6-foot stockade fence between the commercial and the residential. But I think if those trees are on the property, you know, that may be acceptable to the board.
Do you feel they're on your property?
We don't know, we'll survey it and plot them out
Yeah.
exactly where they are.
Looks like there's a snow fence there now, so that.
Yeah, there's a,
Wire fence.
Yeah, it's a wire fence, it's sort of dilapidated, so
Yeah.
we were gonna propose a stockade fence.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't hurt the trees.
What
Right, yeah,
size are the apartments up above, I don't see that on there.
What size are they?
Are they one
Probably on
bedroom?
the sanitary code, it says. Sheet for the sanitary.
One bedroom, or two?
No, this is typically,
There's a couple
one
of
bedroom, there's one bedroom, and got a studio, one bedroom and one bedroom, yeah. Yeah, four one bedrooms and a studio.
Yeah.
So
Very
it's-
similar to the
it's
one that
600,
we did over
like
at
this is
Ace.
600 and
Yeah, it's-
some square feet, 700 square feet, 6 and change, 630, 700. The studio is 638.
Thank you.
As far as the northern property boundary, the site plan is not proposing any fencing or any sort of screening in between the town parking lot and the subject parcel. With regards to the recommendation, snow removal may be an issue if they do landscaping and fencing. So that's something I just want need to come up with a solution. Whether, if it's just a fence, we just want to ensure that there is adequate removal on both sides of the property, both on the town parking lot and the subject parcel for snow removal and snow storage. I mean, it looks like there's probably only about 3 or 4 feet between the property line and the proposed curbing. So if the board thinks a fence is appropriate and there's enough room for
Well, I
snow
think that's
storage.
maybe something we wanna talk about with the board.
We think about what, posted rail fence or something like that?
Yeah.
Wouldn't block anything, but it would just be a
And
divider.
also, since, you know, we probably will be short on the parking, we'd like to be able to at least the cross flow back and forth between, you know, providing, you know, you want some sort of separation between the two uses. So we're thinking of like a split rail fence or something, and then with gaps in between it, so people can walk through from one side to the other, and, you know, low plantings and all. But a lot of these, most of these things that Greg's talking about, we got the letter beforehand, and Bob was good enough to put them on the plan already with some ideas that we have that we can talk about.
Does the town have any plans for that parking area, or the highway department have any comments?
Not that, I referred the plans to Gio, he commented on the curbing and the sidewalk, he didn't mention anything about that parking lot.
And I think the plans he had just showed it, clear separation between it.
Where are the entrances for the tenants? Are they on the, is this the west side and the east side?
One entrance for the tenant will be over here, this would be, say, tenant parking over here, their entrance would be here.
On the west side.
On the west side, yes,
yeah.
with a stairwell coming up and an elevator. The
Okay.
second means of egress would be out on the Osborne side. The entrance to the stores would be from the north side where the overall parking is, and they have entrances from the parking lot and entrances from Pulaski.
More likely the entrances from Pulaski would be secondary.
Right. There's parking on Pulaski, so yeah.
Really depends on how the stores set up their uses.
Now you said you do have an updated plan there that does propose some sort of planting on the
Yeah, well,
northern boundary?
on the northern boundary, yes, we just, put some, just some low, shrubs in here along the, just to break it
Just
up.
to soften it a little bit.
Right, and with a post and rail fence along here. But, we were just thinking about some other things, and one of the comments you were talking about was an easement to the north. I know there was an earlier comment someplace on a preliminary plan where somebody wanted an easement on the property to the east.
Well, I mean, it was
Does that
a
make sense?
recommended, which it does show a future cross-access, which is
Right.
advisable, I mean, in terms of, that the western property cross-access worked out, cause there's no parking. To propose a cross-access on the north, you're gonna be losing 2 spots, which if you're gonna already be short, I don't know if the
Well,
board.
Well, if there's ever one
yeah.
cross-access, then we have the whole
Okay.
parking field to the north to,
That
balance it
sort of
out,
set
yeah.
up the way the parking is, this cross-access almost set this up. But if we're not gonna have this, and we're gonna have it over there, we can change the parking layout, which may help with a couple of things, because to have this, connection to Pulaski over here, there is a telephone pole here. And if we came straight out, we'd have to move the pole, it becomes very expensive. If we could, change the site plan, if we had a cross-access here, we could have this as the traffic aisle coming through here like this. Then all this parking would come on this side along over here, and our entrance would be over here then. And in that case, we'd end up then having a cross-access over here, open this up to this parking lot.
But didn't
But
you
we
say
never-
that you didn't want people cutting through? That's why you didn't want it on the north side?
I don't know. I don't believe that was in.
Whose property is that?
well,
This is,
Yeah,
this is
that-
Town of Riverhead.
we originally met on this, and I think you were there when we talked about it originally, and there was discussions about only providing one access to do exactly that, to eliminate the cut-through on it. Now, what Bob and I talked about on this is the possibility of leaving it like this. This is narrower, this rather than 24 feet, it's 20 foot wide. If we make this a one-way in,
Right.
so then the garbage truck, the garbage truck delivery can go straight in, pick it up, and then back out. And we just make this, just in and, put do not enter signs here. This can be still two-way, but it's just, you don't want anybody coming out this way. And that also precludes the, cut through.
In my mind, it's your project, we'll look at whatever you bring in.
Like the car rental.
Well, we're trying to please you, as close as we can. But I mean, that's,
Elevations.
so we'll do that.
Okay, that's a review board.
So what about the flow of traffic in relation to the light there on Osborne and Pulaski? Because someone heading north on Osborne wanting to make a left into here, what will that do to the traffic if the light's green?
Coming this way? Going here?
How close is this to the light?
We've got, what, this is 150 here, so I'd say about,
Say it's about 100 feet.
about 100 feet. So it's a significant for the amount of traffic that we have in this area.
Yeah, the proposed access is, town code requires a minimum 75 feet from intersection, so I did look at that and they did exceed that.
Alright, so if you make that one only end, that shouldn't be a problem either, that would help with the dumpster, right? And you wouldn't have to change this,
Then we wouldn't have to change it, correct.
Then you're straight in,
and you could still leave that.
We can still leave this.
yeah.
I just wondering what was the purpose of this, being this is a residential. I mean,
Well,
in the
it's
future,
so-
there
Could be,
Yeah,
there could be
okay,
potential
yes,
to
yeah,
develop into
potential
commercial property.
There, you know.
Yeah.
Right,
Mhm.
yeah.
I'd like to see some speed bumps in there. You know, this way you don't get that, cause that's
Yeah.
what's gonna happen in there. They'll be cutting
Or at least
through.
they slow them down.
What?
Yeah, if you can't go out that way,
But that's not.
Right, that's a one-way in, yeah, we put, you know, maybe make this a little bit narrower, so it's definitely one-way in.
or even,
Yeah,
yeah,
you do, one-way in with, you know, no exit, you know.
and really restrict it down, so it is only wide enough for one car.
I just want, make sure a garbage truck can get in there, I mean.
Yeah, yeah,
If it's not two-way access, it doesn't need to be 24, so.
right, okay, good. Yeah, because I see exactly what you mean with this one coming in here, guy'd almost have to back in to pick up your garbage. Which I've seen them do in the past, but.
Alright, I mean, it kinda,
Yeah, yeah.
We are making revisions to that,
Right.
this area too, where this will, you know, be a curb around it, with some, you know, landscape, will be in landscape area, brought a little bit forward too, so there's more landscape around that.
Yeah, and there's more plantings along each side of the building as requested. So there's-
one thing that the plan should show is the 30-foot visibility triangle at the intersection.
30 foot.
Well, it's actually, so it would
30
actually,
from
it
like
would be
here?
start from like here, if you draw,
Oh,
if you
the
draw
curb
out,
line.
if you draw out these curb lines, you're pretty much
Oh,
gonna.
curb
Yeah,
lines,
it's coming
so
like
you're talking
this.
about something like this.
And then it comes.
Yeah, so basically
30
30
foot
feet
back,
from that
30 foot
point, whatever it might turn out to be.
30 feet from here.
So it's about something like that.
Just,
So
and just to
keep that
demonstrate that that.
Very low
pol-
plantings in that area.
Yeah, just to demonstrate that the Polish town sign
Polish town
doesn't
sign's
interfere
out.
with any sort of
Well,
visibility.
it might be in it.
Well,
But it's that, you know, the angle that it's on, it's not gonna block vision.
I mean, I had sort of scaled it out
Oh, yeah.
and it appeared as though the
It
sign
would
was
work.
out of it,
Okay.
so, I mean, if that works, it works.
Fine,
So you're proposing a one-way out of or in?
no, one way in.
Okay.
You can't go out
So,
this way.
this is my question. Because of where the dumpster location is,
Right.
truck is going to come in.
No,
No,
The
the
truck,
would
the
come in,
garbage truck
would
would
come
come
in. One way
in
in.
off of
That's
Pulaski.
How
why
does
we
he get
make
it
this
out of
one way.
here? I'm assuming it's facing that way.
Right, yes, the
How
truck's
does he
gonna
get
come
it
in,
out? He's got
Comes right in
24
here.
feet.
picks it up,
He's got 24
Comes right
feet.
in here, picks it up,
back
It's a
backs
front
up and
loader,
goes
it's a
out.
front loader type,
Yeah,
you're
most
assuming?
of them
Okay,
all are
okay,
front loaders,
alright,
yeah.
okay, I'm okay with it then.
Alright, so just working through the staff report, the parking board does wanna see the 10 by 20 spaces, correct?
Yes, we're gonna lose 27 feet.
Alright,
27 feet.
alright.
The number of spots you have now. Right. Take a foot off each. And that's normal 3 spaces. Yep.
Alright. There were some supplementary guidelines that I just outlined in the staff report. One of them dealt with the principal building entrance shall front primary street frontage and sidewalk. Based on the layout of the site, keeping the parking behind the building, doesn't seem really feasible to be able to have the entrances on the frontage with the streets.
we do have entrance,
There will be entrances.
there would be storefronts.
But the main entrances are gonna be really
Yeah,
from
it's
the,
a double.
from the parking lot. I mean, the development does provide walkways and safe and convenient pedestrian access from public rights of ways.
With the improved light.
Yeah. And there was a requirement in there for, at least 25% of the linear width of the front facade to be comprised of windows. I think in terms of the facade, they're gonna address, the board's concerns in terms of the elevation, so we can comment on that when we see revised drawings. There were some building department comments, you know, they touched on the parking size of the parking stalls, and really, just stuff that deals with more fire marshal and building code stuff. There were some town engineer comments, there were comments from the Riverhead Water District. The Riverhead Water District needed to see more details of what they're proposing in terms of water service, size, et cetera, where they're proposing the RPZ. Standard comments from them will apply, they'll need an RPZ application, key money fees, large tap fees, and applications for them. Again, Highway Department reviewed it, we spoke about the curbing and the sidewalks. Suffolk County Department of Health Services approval will be required for the water and sanitary connections. Have not gotten comments from the ARB yet. Fire marshal review is pending, as well as, town attorney's review of the title report. That's,
We are proposing water service, gas and everything else come into the front of the building, the RPZ valves will be located inside the building, into a closet, so everything will be in this corner.
You don't have a basement.
We're not proposing a basement at this time.
I mean, that's all I've got. If the board's got any additional questions, like I said, I think we can address it further when they come in with revised drawings, when they see the elevations. I think we hammered out some of the important things in terms of the access and the curb cuts, so.
So like I said, we'd like to provide some sort of separation between the two to the
Yeah,
north, and,
I
but
don't have
also
a problem
provide
with that.
pedestrian access back and forth.
I mean, you're gonna put low plantings and a split rail fence with a couple.
Couple holes for people to.
The only thing that I'd be concerned about that is you're gonna have, you know, gaps in the fence and pedestrian, you know, we'll call pedestrian cross access into parking spots.
We're gonna be doing that anyway,
Yeah.
people can get in and out of
It'll-
there.
It'll be 10 foot wide now.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Yes, well, here, I think yeah, I mean, Bob did cover a lot of these with the revisions to the plan. What we try to do is go through here, and Bob took a look at everything that was recommended, and we tried to adjust it, and there was a few questions that we had for you, and so we'll get back to revised plans and take it from there.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Okay, next item on the agenda is Lavender by the Bay West Farm Stand.
Greg, you might wanna slide over one chair, they got three people hanging.
Yeah, you don't mind? Good. Okay, thank you.
For those who don't know what lavender is,
Thank you.
the beauty of lavender is that the essence is in the flower, so if it ever loses its fragrance, you just gently press on the flower.
So as long as that's not $75 worth of lavender, we're good?
Yeah, I think you're okay. And a lovely secretary in the back that.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
it is.
there we go.
Everyone got? Did you get it?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Alright, planning department has received and reviewed a farm stand application seeking approval to erect a farm stand for the purposes of selling lavender and lavender related products. Proposed farm stand consists of two 8-foot by 40-foot cargo containers and a 30-foot by 40-foot retractable fire retardant canopy. A portable lavatory is also being proposed on site for customer and employee use. The subject parcel is a 35.53 acre parcel located on the northwest corner of the intersection of Middle Country Road and Manor Road. The property is split zoned with the southernmost 600 feet zoned rural corridor, and the remainder of the parcel is zoned agricultural protection zone. The applicant had previously cleared the parking area as well as placed a storage container in the proposed parking area. You can be seen on page 2 of the staff report as to the clearing that they've done. Staff has reviewed the application, site plan, and environmental assessment form. There were some small discrepancies in the short EAF that just need to be updated. But despite these corrections that need to be made, the proposed action and application is a type 2 action pursuant to SECRA with no further environmental review required. With regards.
Is this parcel been subdivided?
No, it has not been subdivided. There is a pending subdivision, which I will get to.
In front of you guys.
Yeah, yeah, it is forthcoming. You guys haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
but
they haven't seen it yet?
No, but it is in the works. Yeah. So just a little history on the subject parcel. Subject parcel was subject to a Town of Riverhead transfer of development rights, which was approved by Planning Board, 2015-29, dated April 16th, 2015. Sale of the development rights resulted in the preservation of 24 acres of farmland, which consisted of the northernmost 17.8 acres of the site, which is identified as Lot 3 on the site plan, as well as a 6.1 acre parcel, which is located to the north, beyond the LIPA power lines. That parcel is not shown on the plan.
It's up here,
Yep.
right?
Great.
Yeah.
Right now, the farm stand is being proposed on with the pending subdivision, the lines that you see, lot 1, lot 2, and lot 3, those are the proposed subdivision lot lines. This was done just to ensure that any proposed structures, if the subdivision is approved, would meet any required setbacks. So when I say right now it's being proposed on a 6.6 acre parcel, right now it's all one parcel, but it would be, after the subdivision, it would be a 6.6 acre parcel with the development rights still intact. In terms of the Town of Riverhead Highway Department, the plan was referred to the Highway Department. Right now, the plan is showing a 25 by 25 asphalt apron at the Manor Road curb cut. This was desired by both planning staff and the highway superintendent, as it'll help to prevent gravel being tracked into the Manor Road right-of-way. The proposed curb cut and the improvements in the right-of-way will require a permit from the Town of Riverhead Highway Department. The site plan proposes a parking lot with 68 parking spaces, including 4 handicapped paved accessible stalls. Although farm stands do not have a specific parking requirement called out in the code, if you considered it a commercial or business otherwise not expressly provided for, they require 1 space per 300 square feet. The total area of both storage containers and the canopy area is about 1,800 square feet, which would require about 7 parking spaces. They're proposing 68, so they're well over the parking requirements.
You're expecting a lot of traffic.
I don't know, it's your guess.
Well,
Yeah.
how, you're out in Orient, right?
Correct.
Yes,
East
East
Marion?
Marion.
How successful are you out there?
Thank God we're doing it.
Yeah, very successful. Yeah, they get quite a number of cars.
During our bloom,
The boss.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
By the
introduce
way, my
yourself,
name is Serge
yes.
Rosenbaum, because nobody asked.
Yes.
I am co-owner. This
Hanan
is my
Rosenbaum.
son, Hanan Rosenbaum, this is Pat Moore.
Yes, we were about to do that before, yeah.
Yeah, we have something unique. I mean, nobody grows this stuff. It's a big attraction. People likes to come to the field. It's spectacular. I mean,
when we're in bloom, it's.
when we are in bloom for 6 weeks or 4 to 6 weeks, people want to be there, take selfies and take pictures and just hang out, and so it is successful. You know, that's the reason why we are projecting a big parking lot, because we know 7 parking lot.
7 spots is
7
not,
spots
obviously
now,
not
so
sufficient.
we are really projecting that even if 64 parking lot are not good, we still have, we have more,
land to
we
expand
put
the
into
parking
the
lot if
plan
needed.
that we have grassland that we can expand the parking lot.
That's the reason I asked the question, how successful you are out in East Marion, because I wanna make sure you have enough parking there and
Right.
the cars can get off of the road.
Right.
We know what's right down the road there, Splish
Splash.
Splash,
Oh, yeah.
in the summertime, I don't know that we need, an issue with that intersection.
We don't want neither.
When is
We are very aware and we want to deal with it.
Harvest?
when is harvest season?
End of June, early July,
End of June,
mid-July.
yes. End of June till end of July, like 4 to 6 weeks.
But it's only a weekend, during the week it's fine.
Right.
You wanna have the park.
How many parking spaces do you have at the East Marion site?
I think about 60 to 100.
Do you ever have an issue at that
yeah.
site with people parking on the street?
No,
Uh,
people should not be parking on the street.
No,
The
I
town
mean,
doesn't- the town
They
doesn't allow
should
it.
not be.
No, but
do
the
not, or-
town actually monitors that and the police are there, so, I have to say that if they do, they're,
no, there is
Maybe
not,
throw it off the
it's,
street.
it's pretty taking care of the park.
We've gotten to the point where we've been able to control it.
And we have, you know,
We have
special
an,
fees.
we have an overflow lot now that we
Right.
created, which is something that we can potentially
Well,
utilize
yes.
if need be.
Because right now it's only half of the fees that we have. If you look at the,
Right,
if you
we've
look at the
only-
lot,
We've only planted,
I mean, yeah, this is,
we've planted,
Right, we are here.
we've only planted this area.
exactly.
This
And-
whole area
No,
is.
no, no, I'm
has
talking
been
about the
untouched.
parking lot. The parking lot that we have, 64 is only half.
Right.
We can expand another 60 lot if we want.
I mean, that may be something that if, you know,
And-
when the business gets established,
Ex-
if
exactly,
it's found,
exactly.
if it's
Right.
found that people are parking on the street,
Right.
you know, maybe there's a condition that
Yeah,
you
we'll-
must expand the parking lot
It's,
further.
we're still early,
Yeah.
we're still early in the process right now. Things are strong in East Marion because we've had 15+ years of lavender growing and maturing. We just started to plant now, so it's gonna take, you know, another 2 to 3 years before what we just planted now is mature to the point of like, this is pretty magnificent, I wanna come visit here.
I see you're gonna have one porta potty.
No,
That's
no,
fine,
no,
all
no,
year
no,
round.
no, no,
one.
no, no,
Yeah.
it says over there.
In
four.
July, you're gonna need more.
No, I think there is
Yeah.
4, wait, no,
It says one
What-
here in the plan.
It does,
it's, look on the, it's, on the drawing, it's, no, no, whatever we need to have, we have.
Yeah,
Second
it's,
page.
it becomes more of an issue
Yeah.
for us if we don't have
Yeah,
enough, porta
absolutely.
potties then.
Believe me, if
Yeah.
the people can go to the bathroom, we go to here on Facebook.
Yeah,
So
I
we don't want that.
oh, okay.
the plan right now does propose 2, handicap
two.
accessible
Okay.
porta potty and 1 additional, I mean, that's something I don't think that you're not gonna require a site plan if they need to
No,
bring it
no,
up.
I'm just,
Yeah, yeah,
thinking
that's
about
fine.
a need in the.
No, no,
the
that's
high
fine.
times.
I mean, we're happy to be here and share with you what's happening, because it's something special. I think it's great for us and great for the town.
I go by it every morning, I'm
Yeah.
watching your progress, it's very impressive.
It's nice. I mean, look what we've done 6 months.
Yeah, it's, let's see. if
And
we
we
can
don't own
see
the place
this.
still.
Part of the same parcel? I
Here's,
just, you know, I agree, but the traffic is a concern for me.
It's concern for us, we not have to deal
1,000 people
really.
turn out on a Saturday or Sunday,
Yeah.
you know, on a hot
It is
summer day when
development
splish
rights
splashes,
as well.
you know,
So
just wanna make
that's
sure
why
everybody
it's
can
not
get off the
part of
road.
this site plan.
Right.
Part of
Lot Makes
No,
sense.
this is a separate lot. What it was, I think back in the 40s, before LIPA came in and got this right of way or whatever it was, I believe it was one parcel, but right now they are separate. So this area to the,
Separate tax map?
this, this area to the north of the LIPA is, it's not part of this application, not being considered. One question that staff had was, regarding cooking and heating equipment. The site plan includes a note that says there will be no cooking or heat producing equipment underneath the canopy. But is there gonna be any heat producing or cooking equipment
Not right
inside?
now, until we put a building up. I mean, this is a temporary solution to our
There's gonna be
situation.
no heating,
Right now,
no,
there's nothing.
that would require additional fire marshal review.
There's no-
You're not
no-
proposing that?
Understand that, well,
Yeah, I mean, that's,
oh, no, just so, you'll talk about the subdivision, but this is phase 1. Not much can be done other than the planting. Part of our contract with the Matter Road Associates is that we're permitted to plant, and we're, permitted to do the farm stand, but obviously they can't invest in structures until the subdivision is actually approved, and you'll talk about that,
well, when we get to the I mean,
Yeah.
the portion that the farm stand is on, it's about 6.6 acres. It is located in the APZ, so I mean,
Right.
your
yeah, the
permitted
uses-
uses are somewhat limited to agricultural uses. I
And
mean,
that's what they
You're
wanna
not
do.
gonna see a commercial, you know, but yeah, I mean, the subdivision I'm not gonna address it now, but when we do the subdivision review, we'll look at
Oh.
that.
Well, actually, we were hoping that we would know where they are in the subdivision, because we don't get very much information, and, they'd like to know generally kind of what a timeline might be.
Property owners, they're gonna submit subdivision.
They
They've
did.
submitted, I've been waiting for some additional information to come back from the surveyors, I've received that and it's under review, so I mean, it will be coming to the board
So
in
within
short
about
order.
2 months, a month of,
I would-
submission?
Yeah, I would say
Within a
that's
month?
probably
Okay.
accurate.
Right.
The farm stand application has been referred to the Riverhead Ag Advisory Committee. Review and comments are forthcoming. Prior to planning board approval, comments must be received from the Ag Advisory. I spoke to Dave McLaren, the chairman. He said he was gonna consult with the members. Their next meeting, I don't believe, is till October 8th. He was gonna try to talk to the members, you know, between telephone conversations before that, just so that he can render some sort of approvals or decisions and not have you guys wait
Oh,
for
that'd be great.
another 3 or 4 weeks. Now, because the parcel does have frontage on Middle Country Road, which is a state highway, the application was referred to the DOT. I mean, the access that's being proposed is more than 600 feet away from Middle Country Road, so I mean, I can't imagine that they'd have significant comments, but it was referred to them nonetheless, and any approval granted by the board should take into consideration the DOT comments that we do receive. The fire marshal permits will be required to construct the, canopy, as well as any occupied spaces in the storage containers. So,
That would be through the building department process once
Yep.
we get site plan.
correct, yeah, that will address that.
Yeah, my only question procedurally is, with the highway superintendent, I know you sent this off for his comments. At what point can we go to him and start getting a permit?
I mean, you can make the application to them now, I don't know that he probably won't issue a permit until planning board grants the farm stand approval, but you can start the application process to him now.
Okay, just so that they're both in hand.
Yep.
Do deer eat lavender?
No.
No, they don't.
And when I started,
That's
just a
the
small
evil way.
anecdote, when I planted my lavender 20 years ago in East Maryland, the farmer across the street came to me and he said to me, "You are not a farmer, you don't know what deer does to you, you know, because they don't eat lavender, so another way to.
Lucky
to make-
you.
Yeah.
We have to deal, lavender is very sensitive to soil.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you have
and
the
it's,
issues.
I mean, we lost like 20% of the field last winter,
Wow.
so it's.
No,
I think, I mean, the temperature, the rain, I mean,
there
it's
is
like.
fungus too, they're very sensitive to fungus, any
If
clay,
it's too much water.
any water.
Too little water, too much water.
Exactly, so it's a struggle, it's not France.
That sweet spot right there.
This is the North Fork, so we are doing the best we can and it's working, good.
I mean, that's it, like I said, just waiting for Ag Advisory and, DOT comments.
Great.
You're
You'll let me
done?
know when.
Thank you, folks,
Yes.
thank you very much, appreciate your help. Thank you.
No water on the lavender, keep it dry.
Pretty much, once I get the comments, I'll have the resolution.
Okay, so it doesn't have
Yeah,
to.
you're not gonna need.
Oh,
to read it.
wonderful, great, so then,
Yeah, once
that's
we-
wonderful. And just keep me informed on the subdivision process, 'cause I'm sure they'll let me know, because we have to close, so. Thank you very much, good to see you all.
Thank you. Okay, next item, subdivision map of Demchick Estates, Veggie Queen.
I think we're all
Intimately
smell my
familiar
leather with this application. This was the question that's been hanging out for years about the location of the 6 greenhouses and the barn. This was the Mylar that was submitted as a result of the planning board approval back in, July of 2016. So we finally got resolution on they're going to be there and where they're gonna be. Finally got the Mylar at the end of last year. I prepared, and you have a copy of it, of my October 11th, 2017 review of the Mylar, and there were a number of things and deficiencies shown on the plan, which Victor and I have been going over.
Right, and we've taken care of the one thing you're gonna see here is we corrected the fence, but it's not shown here because before I send out Young and Young to do the final as-built, I wanted to come here today and resolve this, intrusion onto the, what do you call it? Protection zone, easement zone. So, in reviewing the whole situation with Brad Hammond, he came up with a suggestion. Apparently, before I was engaged on this property, on this project, they put up this building and got the power company to put the transformer on the property, which encroached upon the easement zone. So what we're proposing here, this is the existing easement, this is the proposed. Young and Young came up with a plan to satisfy that situation and pick up this extra, and it's an even swap, so the amount of property that was protected under the easement is the same easement, we just moved the line so that we don't have to, it's not so much the building, but to move that, power transformer from the power company is like $40,000, cause I called them and they even laughed, they said, were you kidding me? So, so that's really what we're doing here. The rest of the items on the report that I received from Jeffrey has been resolved. We did put up the pole barn, I consulted with the building department, the building permit was suspended. He allowed me to continue to put up the greenhouses for the growing season, right there, the green, and the pole barn, which was inspected by the building department. All the temporary trailers will be removed from the property, cause that's what they needed them for, that's gonna go into the pole barn. So whatever that building permit was, whatever the building permit was, that was issued several years ago, we were allowed to finish the pole barn, put up the greenhouses, and then once this is resolved, we're gonna update the building permits, pay the extra money and all that stuff. And, the house next door is owned by the same, farmers, Korean farmers, and they have building permits, we're renovating the house, that's where the work is and everybody's gonna live in. So, but that's not part of this plan, that's a separate thing.
Alright, so you're proposing to relocate the fence?
Right, that's the thing, because right now, the existing, if you look at this plan, the existing, easement boundary goes and you picked it up in your report, and it goes, and the building was not so much a problem, cause we could just cut the building, but it picked up that transformer. And moving the deer fence wasn't the problem, it was that transformer, so that's why we're proposing to do the swap here, and it's an equal protection, it's an equal swap of the protection that was required when you guys approved this thing years ago. So Young and Young did it.
And getting rid of them?
Yes, all those they're all coming out, cause that's where they need the pole barn for, for the story, and it's a dry pole barn, it's not, no water or nothing like that, just got lights in it, that's it.
Okay, and your proposal for the northern?
Yeah, we already corrected the fence, it just hasn't been picked up, the next map you see, it'll all be, copacetic as about, the only reason I haven't sent them out yet is I wanna make sure this is okay, and then we're gonna send them out to resurvey the property to get you the final as-built, so you can vote on it, and we have to take into account
You haven't
Vinnie's.
seen it?
Yeah, you haven't seen this yet, so, and I'll have Doug, what's his name, from Young and Young, take a look at this, Doug Adams, take a look at the stormwater runoff resulting from the pole barn.
Yeah,
Cause there's
this came from Vinnie
a small apron, in front of the pole barn, which, we'll probably have to put a catch basin or something, and we'll have Young and Young do that for you.
We just got this at like 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I
right?
just saw this, but it's not a problem, and I just saw it right here,
Okay.
it's from in front of, so.
So if the board is okay with the proposed change to the fence boundary as shown on, I'm gonna illustrate using the color that Vic did.
Yeah, I did, one was one was now and one was after, so it's just it's rearranging to following the fence there.
The second item would be to relocate get the asphalt to show the relocated fence to the north.
Yeah, that's gonna, and we'll pick up everything that's, existing on the building as
And then
it's
the
supposed to
third
be.
thing would be the additional, of catch basin to
Right.
address Vinnie's comments.
Right,
And the storage containers are gonna be removed, right?
yes, they're all gone, because that's the reason they need the pole barn, Sand, is to get rid of storage containers, so.
Alright, so we're gonna have a resolution,
You will have a resolution.
so can we capture in the resolution, so, because this has been around several times, and, you know, there was big debate on what should be allowed and what shouldn't be allowed. I understand they started without permits too,
No, they actually had permits, no, they actually got building, no, I
What was the
gotta
issue
remember,
then?
I got,
What
well,
was the issue?
the issue was that the site
Let
plan
me
was
ask the building
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
chief.
Well, I did the research on that.
Yeah, he was here several times because, you know. Yep.
Yeah.
But I guess it doesn't matter at this point about permits. But in the resolution, even if it's captured elsewhere, I wanna be certain that the rest of this is open space.
Right.
Nothing else.
Correct.
Because
That's a given.
every time we come back, we're putting something else on it that really wasn't the intent when it was, the subdivision went in.
Yeah, when
And
they-
it's not
when
fair
they-
to the people who live over here, who bought when this was open.
Yeah, and you're right, Stan, but from what I read, the covenants that are filed, Dick could back me up, and I did the research, cause I wasn't here when you guys did this. The only thing that's allowed on there is this pole barn and these 6, greenhouses, that's it.
Well, there was a house over here too.
Oh, did they take it down? I don't know if they
Yeah,
took it
well,
down
that was
or
part
not.
of the last
Oh, okay, I
agreement to
wasn't here
allow
for
this,
that.
because it
Okay.
was debated by,
But it's specific that this is the only thing, and they can't do anything
That's
else on
fine.
the
That's
property.
great,
And I
and
had
I-
to explain it to them, because, you know,
I just
it's
wanted to
hard
be
explain.
clear in
That's
this
fine.
resolution.
Yeah, that's fine,
That
you
that's-
could
this
you
is
could
it.
restate it, yeah, you could restate it, sure.
The original covenants were a little ambiguous.
Yes.
There was one section that
Yes.
was tough to make a decision on.
Oh,
Right.
okay, cause I read them, they were pretty specific on they can't be more than 6, they gotta be a certain
Well,
size,
there was an
a pole
envelope too.
bar.
There was
Excuse
a
me?
building envelope.
Oh, there was a building envelope too, right, okay, all right. I know the covenants are filed, so they have to, that's fine, restate them, just restate the covenants in there.
But what you,
Yeah.
Are we moving the boundary of between the covenants, we're gonna,
well,
Well,
or are we gonna move the fence, are we gonna move the fence, or are we gonna move the boundary, what's happening?
we're moving the boundary. There's an there's a protection easement, so,
So you're gonna need a town board resolution, and you're gonna need the town agriculture committee resolution to change that boundary, and you're gonna need a title report and a new covenant.
okay.
Do you really wanna do all that, and move the fence?
well,
No,
they're encroaching right
No,
now with the electrical and where the building is.
unfortunately, if this boundary didn't go through this, if this boundary unless you have a different way you wanna do, now, this was Brad's idea, and I thought you wanted an equal swap. I mean, if you just wanna take a fraction of this line and come on the other side of this thing, then we could move the fence. But I called the power company to move that transformer is about $40,000, okay?
So it's really an
This
in-kind
is
adjustment.
pre-existing though.
You guys would know that, I don't know when these two things were put in there.
It's pre-existing on a piece of preserved land. It was there when they preserved it.
Not the transformer.
I don't think the transformer was, because this
okay.
line,
Right.
when they put this transformer in.
So it appears to be more than, you know, an equal swap that we're getting, well, he says it's
Well,
equal.
Young said it came out to the same,
I'm not opposed to the swap, I just wanted to let you know,
With the
it's not
process
just
of-
the town, it's not just a planning board resolution.
No,
That's-
I'm
that's
sure
all-
it's
That's all,
not.
I'm not.
Is there an easier way?
I know there isn't.
Well, this goes back to the farm committee also.
Yeah, I'm not worried, I'll take it back, I had to come here first,
No, I'm just asking.
and then we have to go to the
I'm
farm
asking Dick,
committee.
actually.
Yeah,
Yes.
Why
Yeah.
did you have a transformer? Why did you need it?
I don't,
They put
I
a well
got-
in.
I got in this job
They
because
put a
I
big
was
well
at
in.
his place and the guy was standing there and he needed help, okay? And somehow the previous attorney, I don't know what happened, and so I thought it was an easy thing to help him out here, and it got very complicated. As you guys are shaking, it is a very complicated thing, and I understand what has to be done here, which means we have to get an attorney or the attorney, we have to amend the title report, right? And refile the covenants.
Who put the box right there? Who determined that went there? Utility?
Don't know.
I don't think this area was actually delineated when they decided to do it.
That's correct.
So they were off a little bit.
Yeah, so the house is not a problem, we could chop the house, the building with the
Well-
pump houses in it. It's there's
I don't think we have a problem with,
unless some legalese could determine that this is not an encroachment, and all we gotta do is move the deer fence out, which is easy.
Yeah, some kind of hardship or something, you know.
I mean,
Hate to complicate
if this doesn't constitute an encroachment on on the protection, the easement protection here, I understand what this is to, it's just like the easement you have on the property, you can't build on it. So that's, I mean, if, that would be the easier thing, because then all we have to do is, we don't have to move the fence here, we just have to move that fence, bring it up to the thing there, and then
Just go
take
around
it, and just go around it, right. Which is what I originally wanted to do, but then I saw this, the power transformer, I said, well, maybe we can move the transformer, and that shed, we just cut the corner of the shed, so this is the real, this is the problem right here, this is the problem right here.
The fence should go where the line is,
Yeah,
right?
that's, and it doesn't,
Can they do that?
yeah, they can definitely move that fence, okay?
Okay,
The-
so they move
if
the
you're,
fence.
if you're,
So then, and then if you move the fence, that leaves this utility structure.
that's the pump house, and that little teeny corner
And
goes
may-
into the
And maybe we could
protect.
determine that that's a de minimis, I mean, your board is interpreting this easement for allowing these buildings to be, now you gotta sort of look back and forth to the trees here. We're trying to legitimize these buildings, and when they did that, they had to locate the buildings. Remember they brought us the buildings
Yep.
improperly located? And then they brought us the map that showed all the other things they've done that they hadn't followed the rules on. So if they got everything back to square, except for maybe a slight encroachment there, you could find that to be de minimis and be done with it.
Just move the fence and that's it.
I would I mean, we're for moving the fence, I mean, I can get that fence moved ASAP, and then we'll send Young and Young out to do a final site plan where you guys can pick it up.
Redoing the covenants and the subdivision.
That's a big deal.
The neighbors might have rights in those covenants.
Right.
I mean, they bought property, in a plan that had a description. You're getting into a big.
I'm with you.
Why don't we re-huddle and come back with a better proposal? I think maybe just, see.
If we can just relocate this fence,
We definitely can relocate the fence.
I don't think you can get further today without a little rehuddle.
okay,
Okay, that's fine.
so give us a couple weeks to get back to you.
That's fine with me, and like I said, we'll definitely move the fence. When I was brainstorming this, I said, oh my God, with that, like I said, the pump house was easy, okay?
We did, not Vic, Dick, we did vet the understanding publicly, when we had questioned it.
The structures would be.
Right.
I don't think anybody's opposed to what's happening, but when, they didn't have, they started all this without an accurate survey. And only when they did the accurate survey did all these problems.
I think that well went in.
Yeah, and there's no question, when as you know, you guys asked me to do this, so we hired Young and Young, and we did the as-built, and then when they got the actual, when I saw the actual, easement zone, and then I saw what we did here, I said, oh my, I knew immediately it was a problem, so,
Will,
if you guys wanna huddle, I mean.
Let us take a look and like,
The rest of the stuff on here.
if we're gonna
I'll
consider it
work
to
on.
be de minimis, let's look at the square footage that we're really talking about.
Right.
If you talk about 100 square feet and a fence movable, yes, de minimis, but you start getting into thousands.
No,
It's a
no,
different-
I mean.
I know, but let
right-
us
right-
confirm that.
Okay, right now, the fence from here to here is in violation, so that fence has gotta come out to here, which is not a problem, we just gotta move the fence, okay? It's the,
Yep.
I'll bring to Jeff, I'll go out and measure, I'll actually measure the transformer, and I'll give you the transformer, and we'll get a damn good estimate if it's like 15 square feet, and then I'll measure the corner of the house that we're in, and we'll give you an approximate, I'm pretty sure it's under 100 square feet.
Okay.
So that, and then the rest of the thing with Vinnie, I'll take care, cause either way, if we move the fence, I still gotta order another as-built for you, so you can,
But don't order that yet.
No, I'm not gonna order anything yet, that's why I haven't, because I wanted to make sure that.
Okay.
Alright,
Good, thank you.
alright, no problem. I'll get that measurement to Jeffrey tomorrow. I mean, they're not bad guys, it's hard.
That section of land owns the record for the amount of
signs that's vacant in front of this board.
Well, I wasn't there.
Well, the other piece
All
was
to
too,
do with water.
the other hand of this, on the other, the western side was in front of the zoning,
It was, the western side was what?
in front of the zoning board, for a different matter.
Oh, this parcel?
Well, this was two subdivisions that were
Right,
combined,
combined, and
and
then
they
you,
both had, you know, the conservation
Right,
parcels.
right.
And the other one was in front of the zoning board for
Oh.
a different matter,
oh, okay.
so.
No, I know how
And I
this
think
was-
that's a result of not clarifying and verifying
Yeah,
everything.
and because this was
initially.
created out of a residential subdivision, it's got different, which they don't understand, but it's got different parameters, how
Right.
it was created, other than if the town came in, purchased development
Right.
rights, there's an easement that's clearly on file, I go through this all the time in Southold, what you can do, what you can't do, pretty easy, okay. Good, just get
Thank you.
back to me, no problem.
It's the old one word.
Yep. Okay, so no public hearing scheduled today, any comments on the resolution that we have?
They're lined up.
Yeah, any comments on the resolution? Okay, number one.
I'll move resolution number 74, granting administrative approval for Bating Hollow Cottage number 22.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve resolution 74 for Bating Hollow Cottage 22, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, resolution is approved. Any comments from the public on any other matter?
I have a public comment.
Okay.
You wanna stand up
Are
in
you
the
still
microphone?
talking? No, I'm gonna stay right here. Thank you, Doc. You still talk to the Costco people on a regular basis?
I haven't lately, but I know Brandon pretty well. Was it
Okay.
Costco or Britsmore?
Brixmor, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
yep.
Yep, no, Brian.
Apparently they're sweeping and, using those blowers late into the night, like until 12:30.
Oh, okay.
If you could just let them know what the town code is, I think it's either 10 or 11 o'clock on noise ordinance.
They gotta shut them off before the racetrack stops.
It was,
Is it for street sweeping or?
it sounded like blowers, the guys who wear the packs and.
Oh, landscaping, yeah.
It was like 2 weeks straight.
Yep.
If you could just mention it to them, that'd be great, cause some of the neighbors, have a little concern with it. That was it.
How's the parking, how's the car or electric, things coming?
Oh, yeah, people are lining up to, the car
There's
charging.
only two of them on the
But they agreed to put the other ones in when they finish.
I gotta tell you,
Yeah, they did.
when they finish.
Yeah,
Before they're done, yeah.
2 years ago, Ferraris were the hot
Like a
commodity
runaway
in
electric car.
Sag Harbor. We saw at least 10 on a Saturday morning in Sag Harbor Village. This year, Ferraris are passé. I saw at least 20 different Teslas in Sag Harbor Village this summer. Don't ask me why. Their status symbol.
Not for me. I'm gonna make a motion that we move the minutes of the Riverhead Planning Board for September 2018, so moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the minutes of September 2018, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next meeting is October 3rd at 7 PM. Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
all in favor? Thank you.
I will not see you at the next meeting. I am headed to